Hello, welcome guys. This is going to be part two of the stress unit, and I'm glad you're tuning in. In this section, we're going to talk about these things on this first slide: approach, type A, some rats and control pessimism, what health psychologists do, another field you might find some interest in, and then finally, coping mechanisms. And this last part's super important. I know we're stressed out right now about some of the coronavirus stuff. So I don't know when or where exactly you will be watching this video, but we're going to have coping mechanisms, and it'll be a great opportunity for you to say, hey, maybe I'll try some of these coping mechanisms to help me through this. All right, let's get started. Okay, there's what we're doing. And first thing we're going to talk about is something called motivational conflicts in stress. There's a guy named Lewin, and he noticed that there were sort of three types of stressful situations. And the first one he called approach, which is when you have a choice between two good options. And which one are you going to do? Am I going to go to this college or this other college? And when you have two good colleges, two good choices, it can still be stressful. Seems like if it's two good things, it wouldn't be stressful, but it can be. Then there's approach avoidance. This is when you have one option, but there's pros and cons about it, good and bad consequences. This could be like getting married. When you're married, it's obviously good. You love the person and you're super excited to spend your life with them, but also planning a wedding and moving in together and all the stuff you have to do, and it costs money. And so a lot of the coordinating the wedding can be negative, even though the excitement of getting married is really positive. Another conflict is called avoidance. That's when you have two bad options. And so that would be like you're working at a job, the company is losing money, and so they're either going to fire you or they're going to cut your salary. And they're going to do one of them. Both of those are bad options. And so the avoidance is the worst type of stressor. All right, there's also some research on personality types in stress. There's one personality type in particular that seems to get stressed more and not deal with stress well, and that is called the type A personality. Friedman and Rosenhan did this research on men like 50 years ago, and they found that some men are super competitive, hard driving, they're impatient often, they can be verbally aggressive, they get angry quickly, they're just like high strung bundles of anger and frustration and competitiveness. And so they're type A. Type B are easygoing, more relaxed people. And so you could be a little bit of both. You can be a lot type A or a little bit type A, a lot type B or just a little bit type of B. So it's a continuum. But type A personalities are more likely to develop heart disease as they age. So that's a problem for them. We'll come back to coping mechanisms and we'll talk about type A again. There's an issue with stress about how much control you have. So if you have a lot of demands on you, but you have a sense of being in control of those demands, you will not feel the negative effects of stress nearly as much as if you feel like you don't have control over your life. So one famous study on this looked at rats, and it's like this diagram. The rats are getting shocked, but the executive rat can stop the shock, and the subordinate rat cannot stop the shock. Now, they're both in these little cages, so that's the main difference. And then you have the control rat who's not getting shocked at all, but he's in the little cage. So what did they find out? The rats that could stop the shock had no stress reaction at all. The rats that could not stop the shock had higher levels of cortisol, that's the stress hormone, in their blood, and they developed ulcers. So this type of research offers an explanation of why people living in poverty, like extreme poverty, constantly not having a sense of control over their food, how much they're going to get, over their shelter, over their medical care. And so the chronic stress of poverty, part of that is because of no sense of control. Whether you're a pessimist or optimist also affects how you deal with stress. Pessimism, in this study, pessimism led to more of a chance of having heart disease. So that was a major problem. Okay, behavioral medicine is a new field of medicine. The similar name, health psychologist. So if you're a doctor, you do behavior medicine. If you're a psychologist, you do health psychologist. It's kind of the same thing. These are people who are integrating our knowledge of behaviors and habits and lifestyle with our knowledge of the medical knowledge of stress and illnesses and psychological disorders and heart disease. So these guys are focused on the idea that mind and body interact. Everything is connected, our psychological and our physiological. It's just one system. If you recall, the stress hormones trigger the fight or flight response, the heartbeat, the breathing, and they also suppress the development of lymphocytes. Lymphocytes help us fight disease. So it's all just one system. Okay, so what do these people notice? They've come up with a bunch of strategies for how to cope with stress, trying to be more optimistic, having good relationships with people, spending time purposefully developing friendships. Getting aerobic exercise is a big boost to your health. Being part of a faith community is often helpful. Not everybody has to do it, but it can be a source of support. There's something I'll tell you more about in a minute called biofeedback. Having a healthy diet, tons of research on eating fresh fruit and vegetables and how that can improve your mental health and your physical health. The research says that you should have like 3 to 5 servings per day of fresh fruit and vegetables. So if you're eating snacks out of a snack machine or getting stuff, fast food, and it's not healthy fresh food, that's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect your health. So another thing is sleep hygiene. We'll have something to read in class about this. Getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep, going to sleep at the same time. A lot of people in America do not get enough sleep. And if you're one of them, you're going to want to think about changing your lifestyle, getting good sleep. Everything else depends on good sleep, having good energy throughout the day, feeling sharp, having good memory. All that is dependent upon a good night's sleep. There's a recommendation to limit social media. A lot of times on social media, people end up comparing themselves to other people. Why are they doing all this fun stuff? Why didn't I get invited to do this? Hey, I posted something, nobody responded, or whatever. So there's lots of issues with social media that too much of it can cause you to have sort of negative thought patterns about yourself, comparing yourself to others. So limiting that can help. Also, meditation and yoga are helpful, and I'll tell you a little bit more about meditation in a moment. Yoga, you can go to YouTube and find some good yoga instructors, and they'll give you a free 10-minute session, 20-minute session, 30-minute session, whatever you want. You can find it on YouTube. Okay, what about research on aerobic exercise? Here's a study before the treatment and after treatment. The green line is the exercise group, and this is their score on depression. So their feelings of depression significantly decreased after exercise. There was a relaxation group, did some relaxation training. It also helped, but not as much as aerobic exercise, and no treatment saw no change. I've done some research also. Weightlifting is also good to fight depression and deal with anxiety. So that's another form of exercise that's helpful. So what is biofeedback? Biofeedback, they hook some wires up to your pulse, your heart rate, or your breathing, your pulse, and you can see them on the machine, and then you can do relaxation techniques, and you can see the numbers going down, your heart rate going down, your breathing going down. And so that's the feedback on your biological signals. So they're getting biological information, and then you're getting feedback, and then that helps you learn to relax. Okay, with meditation, funny story. I started meditating like 8 or 9, maybe 10 years ago. And this meditation, which is on YouTube, is the one I did. This guy, John Kabat-Zinn, 30 years ago, started a stress reduction clinic at the Massachusetts State Hospital. And he did a double-blind study researching his techniques. He's using these sort of Buddhist meditation techniques, and he's adapted them to like American culture. So it's not religious, but it's these ancient techniques of relaxation. Anyway, he's kind of the best in the business as far as meditation goes. So if you're thinking about trying it, search this on YouTube. It's a 45-minute meditation. He recommends doing it 5 days a week for like 6 weeks to reprogram your brain about how to like really relax and really reduce anxiety and help with depression or mania. For me, it helped with my bipolar a lot. After you do it that much, you don't have to keep doing it that much. You can do it like once or twice a week. But if you are stressed out right now and you have time because you're not in school, you might want to try giving this a shot. It's made a huge difference in my life, like me learning how to relax and understand my own thought patterns. So you can try that if you want. There's other meditations online. He has other ones you can do that aren't 45 minutes. They're like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So if you don't have enough time, you can do the shorter ones. So that is meditation. With type A personalities, when people do these lifestyle changes, meditating, yoga, eating healthy, exercising, they do show a change in the amount of heart attacks that people have. So you might not be type A, you might not be in danger of having a heart attack, but these things, these lifestyle changes can definitely help you even on a smaller scale. Okay, that's the end of part 2. If you have any questions, see me in class or email me. All right, bye-bye.